March 31st marks the date when in 1848 events took place that began a new communing with woman and man. Hydesville, New York, in a cottage small, where two Fox sisters got the call. No one around, not a sound. Then came the knocks and the raps most profound. It surprised them, yes, we know. From the start, how did it grow? Helping each to understand. Communication is not new. It had its start when the world was new. But we should know in modern times, these two sisters received the signs. Natives in lands far away, they could tell what God would say. They had their ways to relate. When God had something He wished to state, sages past did appear, sharing God's love that was most dear, telling us of our great plan. March 31st marks the date when in 1848 events took place that began a new communing with woman and man.
Follow me to Hydesville, where beginnings never end. Not when we pay tribute to the place it all began. Spirit manifested with those legendary knocks. Frightful things to witness for our Kate and Maggie Fox. Kate and Maggie's struggles put a strain upon their youth. Still the spirits told them time to demonstrate the truth. We don't have to fear death, for our spirit will live on. This is our foundation and the music for our song. Follow me to Hydesville, and we'll give a silent prayer, showing that we're grateful for the things that started there. Knowing that we don't die helps to show us how to live, shining love and healing and the power to forgive.
Spiritualism proves that our lives and personal identities continue after the change called death, and that communication with spirit is the result of natural law and not the supernatural or the miraculous. Spiritualism is considered a science, a philosophy, and a religion. A science because it studies its own phenomena. A philosophy because it encourages the pursuit of truth. And a religion because it fosters personal spiritual growth. Like many religions, spiritualism endorses the golden rule. It acknowledges that we are responsible for our own happiness or unhappiness, and that we live in a world of our own making. This all-encompassing view of personal responsibility requires no dogma, no leader, and no savior. Spiritualism affirms that all physical and spiritual phenomena are the expression of infinite intelligence, and that living in harmony with this expression is true religion. Though it later became a movement that spread throughout the world, modern spiritualism began with a persistent spirit who was determined to communicate. Today, March 31st, 2021, 173 years since that fated evening, we invite you to join us for Hydesville Sets the Stage. You've just crossed over into the dimension of imagination. Beyond it lies another dimension, as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. The year 1848. The disturbances in this small house in pastoral Hydesville, New York, may have caused the previous tenants to flee in terror. But tonight, the Fox family isn't going anywhere. Next stop, a Hydesville cottage.
Mother, the noises, I'm scared. The noises are back.
Coming from?
Maggie, your father is looking for where the noises are coming from.
Again?
Kate, you and your sister stay in bed. We'll be right here.
Oh, where are those noises coming from?
I've made enough noises to wake the dead! What more do you want?
Good night, Kate. Good night, Maggie.
Here, Mrs. Spitfoot. Do as I do.
Kate snaps her fingers twice. 2 knocks. Kate then claps her hands 3 times. Three knocks.
Mother.
Mother, look.
Look. Now, just do as I do.
Four knocks.
Oh, look, Mother, it can see as well as hear.
Oh, Mother, I know what it is. Tomorrow is April Fool's Day, and someone is trying to fool us.
Oh, can we just please sleep in your bed, please?
This sisters scurried to get into their parents' bed. All four get into the bed. The bed begins to shake.
I'll ask the noises. Something to test it. Can you wrap the ages of the number of children I have?
Mr. and Mrs. Fox had 6 living children. That was quite a few knocks. And the noise gave the correct answer. However, after a brief pause, it gave one more knock, which was child in spirit.
Is this a human that answers my question so correctly? Is it a spirit? If it is, make 2 raps.
2 knocks.
Is the person living that injured you?
2 knocks.
Will you continue to rap if I call in my neighbors so that they too may hear your knocking?
2 knocks. Mr. Fox nods his understanding and exits out the library door. And so, by using a system of knocking and the letters of the alphabet, they found that the noise was the spirit of a 31-year-old peddler who was murdered 5 years earlier, and whose body was buried in the cellar. He left behind a wife and 5 children. His name was Charles B. Rosna. And here comes Mr. Fox with his neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Redfield, and Mr. and Mrs. Dusler.
What's going on?
I'm just wondering what's going on.
Really cold out there.
Oh, what's happening?
Shh. We can hear the noise. Can you rap my exact age?
"28 knocks.
Impudent, but correct.
I thought you were much younger than that.
Never you mind. Just ask your own questions.
How many children do we have?
"5 knocks.
That is wrong. We only have 4.
Oh, no, it's not. Don't you remember our dear Tommy, our darling baby, who's gone to the great beyond?
I understand that you were murdered. Can your murderer be brought to justice? Or can he be punished by law? Well, if your murderer cannot be punished by law, can you manifest it with raps?
Why were you murdered?
As it turns out, the peddler was murdered for his money. The sum was $500. I think that would be comparable to about $17,000 today. Not so paltry. Many more neighbors came that night, and all of their questions were answered correctly. The next day, there were nearly 300 people who witnessed the rats. Some of them formed a group to dig in the cellar to look for the body. The next morning, Mr. Fox, Mr. Redfield, and Mr. Dusler came to investigate.
Did you find his body?
No, just a bit of hair and part of a skull, but no body.
You know, we heard something being dragged into the cellar, but we could never find anything.
I just know he's down there somewhere.
Unfortunately, in the past, charlatanism exploited the phenomena of mental and physical mediumship. Fortunately, spiritualism doesn't. It demands investigation, evidence, and certification.
I believe we are talking to a spirit.
I can feel his hand on me.
Oh, he's just as alive as we are.
He understands everything we're saying.
Let us pray for his soul.
The peddler was able to communicate through the mediumship of Kate and Maggie Fox, but they didn't realize they were physical mediums until after the events of Hydesville. However, mediumship eventually became their profession, and their lives were surrounded by controversy. They endured both personal attacks and death threats, particularly as children and young women. But they were also highly sought after, and their fame spread across the continents. Countless people had private readings and joined their circles. Often, debunkers came with the intention of exposing the sisters as frauds, and frequently these same people turned into their staunchest supporters. In 1904, after the Fox sisters had died, school children playing in the Hydesville cottage discovered a skeleton and a peddler's trunk hidden behind the walls of the cellar. Today, the trunk is on display in the Lilydale Museum in Lilydale, New York, the site of the largest spiritualist community in the world. A full account of this discovery was published in the Boston Journal. To quote a small portion of this article, quote, "This clears the sisters from the only shadow of doubt held concerning their sincerity and the discovery of spirit communication," unquote. The finding of the bones corroborates the sworn statement made by Mrs. Fox on April 11th, 1848. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for Hydesville Sets the Stage. The play was created and written by the late Reverend Judy Campbell Clark. Now please join me as we give a silent round of applause as I introduce our cast members. Starting off, Mrs. Redfield, who is portrayed by Ann Kaufman. Mr. Redfield, who is portrayed by David Nick Nichols. Mrs. Dusler, portrayed by the Reverend Pamela Bollinger. Mr. William Dusler, portrayed by Jerry Caesar. Our Mrs. Margaret Fox, portrayed by Tracy Murphy. Our Mr. John Fox, portrayed by Leo Danny Gutierrez. Kate, also known as Katie Fox, portrayed by the Reverend Jean Mandeville. Maggie Fox, portrayed by Janice Hamilton. and the spirit of our peddler, Charles B. Rosna, portrayed by Ellen Sclaver.
And I'd also like to thank our narrator, Michael Staples, also a certified medium.
I'd also like to put a shout out to our dear director, Linda Townsend, and our stage manager, Carol Caesar. Everyone, thank you for joining us for our production of Hydesville Sets the Stage, and please enjoy the rest of the Hydesville Day events.
Let's give them a virtual hand of applause. And we have our cast members here to say hello. So I'm going to bring some of them in to tell us about putting on the play and how much fun that was.
Thanks for watching our play today, everyone. It was kind of amazing working with this acting coach who took a bunch of us who were not actors and turned us into actors and actresses. So no easy task. She did a good job, and it was a lot of fun.
Yes, I just wanted to say that big thanks to Carol and Ellen and everyone. I don't know how many times we've practiced. I think it was at least, 8 sessions? It's probably at least 20 hours, but it was a lot of fun, and we had our historian with us, and we made a lot of revisions to the script. We tried to remain true to the story that Judy wrote for the play, and Pamela was there to remember how she wrote it in the song that starts the play. So we felt very special, and we bonded quite a bit during the production.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was, I really enjoyed being in play, acting, watching the play just get more and more enhanced as our sessions went along and more smooth. And it was really our director's first virtual play, so it wasn't an easy task. And I give a big thanks to Carol too, who had to really spotlight us and put us in the right spots and get everything just so. I mean, knowing that I'm behind the scenes for today, you just can't imagine how much work goes into that. So I big kudos to Carol too.
Well, there were so many things, and I see Michael's got his hand up. There were so many things that happened, like we'd be recording and there were telephones ringing, or just getting the background so that you could actually see the cabin, because some of us were all disappearing, just not not Ellen's character, but all of us were kind of melding into the background for a while. So it really did take a lot of ingenuity, and our director did a great job of helping us to step into character. I know I changed my perspective as she talked about what David was saying to me. Then I thought, oh, well, then I need to change my tone of voice, because I need to, he was my husband in the play. I need to react that way. So it was a real learning experience for me, and it was really fun to see it. I did expect to hear music in the background from the bass player upstairs, but I couldn't hear any music.
Yeah, we had some great outtakes. It was, maybe at some point we'll be putting in the outtakes. Specifically, we had a flub up, and we lost Michael, a narrator, midpoint, and Carol had to step in, and while Carol was speaking, her telephone went off, and I mean, she just kept a straight face the entire time. It was amazing. So it's a great outtake that hopefully at some point everybody else will be able to enjoy as well.
I think we have a question from Joseph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was really nice, folks. Beautiful job. And what you described, I'm trying to picture it, because doing a play is hard enough as it is, with the timing and getting everyone together and so on. But I take it you were practicing online, trying to do this online, and to combine it with technical issues, telephone, that sort of thing. But to get the timing down online, that is a real additional complication. So congratulations for doing as well as you did and conveying the thought and the purpose that, you know, goes along with this. Really nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our director, Linda Townsend, really did a fantastic job of sort of pulling this whole thing together. So our hats off to her for sure.
Yeah.
And hats off also to Carol and Ellen. Ellen was doing all the technology behind the scenes, and you two, I know what goes on behind the scenes. Well, I have a pretty good idea, and you are amazing. You did amazing. And it was a joy to bring Spirit through so joyfully with all of you.
Sweetheart.
Hello.
Hi, baby.
Can I say one thing?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
I played Mr. Doozler. That was a lot of fun. The important thing and the exciting thing is wait till next year's sequel. It's going to be a thriller. It's going to be a good one. And I want to thank the whole cast. Everybody did a great job. You guys were wonderful. Have a great day and God bless.
Yeah.
I wanted to say we would be remiss if we didn't wish James Bay, who edited today's program,
Yes.
happy birthday today.
Happy birthday, James.
Happy birthday, James.
Thank you for all your behind the scenes work. Thank you.
And we do have to give a big happy birthday to Carol, who does not want to probably be recognized because her birthday is tomorrow.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Shall we sing?
Yeah, yeah.
I think we learned that we shouldn't sing because you can't sing together on Zoom.
Well, just bring back the ukulele.
Yes, we have to bring back the ukulele.
The effects of singing.
Carol, you're muted. I don't know if you were trying to say something.
I was just trying to mute myself so we wouldn't have cacophony. Any other questions for our cast? Put your virtual hand up.
And I'm going to go back behind the scenes to get ready for our next section. So.
Thank you very, very much, cast. We're actually going to go into our historical meet and greet and meet some people from the past. I believe that they are actually
just had 2 little girls here who watched the whole play.